in the 80s, and Reagan was president, Gorbachev was in office. And this guy came to my college, and he gave a talk about how he went to the Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, to visit Jewish refuseniks. Because at that time, Jews weren't allowed to leave the Soviet Union. They were denied a lot of privileges, they were persecuted, they weren't allowed to practice their religion, they weren't allowed to get a lot of prescription medicines, and they were put in jail for a lot of reasons. And I didn't know this, but I learned this from this guy who spoke. So he told the story about how he went, he raised money, and he brought all these things like medicine and Jewish items, prayer books, things people could get there, taught people about being Jewish, religion, things they were denied because they were Jewish there. But he also got caught by the KGB, and he spent a little time in jail there. But it's not really like a big crime, and the State Department helped him. He got out, he came back to the US, traveled around, told his story. And my friend, who I was listening to him talk with, turned to me and she said, "That sounds so cool. We should do that." So I said, okay. So we talked to the guy afterwards, and we asked him how he did it, and we learned that he wasn't the only one, that other people were doing this, but most people just didn't get caught the way that he did. So we spent about a year researching it, raising money from Jewish organizations, learning what you do if you do get caught, all sorts of things. Never heard of anyone else who got caught like this guy did. So we planned our trip, we bought our tickets, we got contact information of people we could go to visit. We bought prescription medicines we could bring over, found out like the things that people needed, got doctors to give us the medicines, we bought prayer books, we bought religious articles, we got all these things we were supposed to bring. We talked to people in the State Department, we found out what you do if you do get caught, and we got letters from our senators from her state and my state saying, that we were endorsed by them if we did get caught, and we're all prepared. We packed our suitcases, we packed all our spy gear, like Boris and Natasha. We had trench coats, sunglasses, mustaches, wigs, some army knives. So we got on the plane, we went to the Soviet Union. It's 1988. We were there the same week as the Gorbachev-Reagan summit, so it was very exciting. And we were with the tour group, because you weren't allowed to be in the Soviet Union at that time without a tour group. So the tour guide said to us the first day that we weren't also allowed to be without the tour guide and the tour group at all times. We had to be with the tour group. So we spent the first day with the tour group and got the lay of the land. And the second day we said that my friend was sick, she had to stay back, and I had to stay back to take care of her. She was that sick. So they all left, we stayed at our hotel, and then we snuck out of the hotel with our trench coats and our mustaches and everything. I'm just kidding. We snuck out in our college wear, like bright red shirts and blue and yellow clothes, it was the 80s. We're wearing Esprit and Guess jeans. And it's the Soviet Union, everybody's wearing gray and brown. So we could not have stood out more than anybody else in Moscow. With our backpacks, nobody had backpacks out, but these dark drab bags full of potatoes and beets. So we get on the subway, and we didn't speak Russian either. We had this big Russian guidebook with just the language, and we're trying to figure out how to get to where we're going. But we come out of the subway where we think we're supposed to go to try to meet our contact person. We come up out of the subway, and we're in this big promenade area. We're walking around with our bags full of stuff. And some kid comes over to us. He looks like he's about our age, about 20. And he starts talking to us. He speaks English really well. He says he's Jewish. And kind of came up in conversation. And we're thinking, that was kind of a coincidence. But he knew Hebrew. And he built, I'm just going to speed it along. He got our trust. And we're like, this is great. So, we'll just give him a bunch of our stuff because we'll help him out. So we gave him a bunch of the Jewish stuff. We're all proud of ourselves. Then we went on, we met our contact person, and we told him all about what we did. He was a little suspicious, but we gave him the stuff we had left. We went back to our hotel. Finished up our trip with the tour group, went on to the rest of the city, saw the other people we were supposed to see, gave them the medicine and the other things we had. Came back to the U.S., never got caught by the KGB, reported back to the contacts who helped set us up. Showed them the pictures of the kid we gave all the first stuff with that we were so proud of. And they had said, oh yeah, we know this kid. We said he was KGB decoy. He tries to catch people when they get to Moscow and get their stuff so that they don't actually give it to Jewish people. So we had this criminal intent meant to distribute the stuff to Jewish people and break Russian law, Soviet law, but we actually gave it to a KGB agent, so we didn't actually do so well on our first day. But the rest of the trip we succeeded in everything.